Imagine waking up in 2030 to a world fundamentally reshaped, not by bombs or battles, but by an economic collapse that began so slowly it seemed almost no one saw coming. This isn't science fiction, it's a looming geopolitical earthquake already rumbling beneath the surface. Today, we're pulling back the curtain on the hidden indicators and ripple effects of the global depression predicted for 2030. A shift that will touch every part of your life, your job, your savings, your security. And while politicians reassure us that everything is under control, the signs suggest otherwise. Let's break it down. Right now, the global economy is flashing red. Unprecedented government debt, persistent inflation, stagnant wages, added up, and the foundations of growth are cracking. We've seen this movie before: the Great Depression of the 1930s, the stagflation of the 1970s, the financial collapse of 2008. Each began with overlooked warning signs, and once the cracks became too large to ignore, the system collapsed suddenly and brutally. So why aren't we hearing more about it today? Because the mainstream narrative is focused on quarterly growth numbers and stock indexes hitting records. But beneath those headlines, the fundamentals tell a very different story. And history tells us, when warning signs are ignored, the crash is always worse, because there was no time left to buckle up. As we approach 2030, a second fault line is opening: demographics. Populations are aging at record speed, while birth rates continue to fall. In developed economies, shrinking workforces will mean fewer taxpayers supporting exploding social security and healthcare costs. In developing nations, young populations will struggle with unemployment and financial instability. The result? A global imbalance. Rich nations drowning in entitlement costs, poorer nations battling youth unrest, both pulling at the fragile threads of global stability. This isn't a slow shift, it's a demographic time bomb, set to detonate in the same decade as the looming economic collapse. When economies weaken, politics harden, trade wars intensify, protectionism rises, scarce resources, energy, food, and critical minerals become weapons. Look closely, and you'll see the cracks widening now. US and China locked in rivalry, Russia pivoting east, alliances fraying, and cyber attacks testing the resilience of nations every single day. What happens when these pressures collide with an economic downturn? Cooperation collapses, international institutions designed to prevent global crises falter, and the world enters a synchronized depression without a safety net. Now add one more shockwave: technology. Artificial intelligence and automation are accelerating faster than policymakers can keep up. By 2030, millions of jobs from factories to offices will have vanished. Entire industries will be hollowed out. Some nations will adapt and reskill their workforce. Others will watch inequality explode, fueling unrest and weakening fragile economies further. Will AI be a tool for prosperity or a trigger for collapse? That depends on choices made today. Right now, those choices are dangerously unclear. So how do we navigate a quake of this magnitude? For individuals, diversify investments, build emergency savings, invest in reskilling, not just for you, but for the next generation. For communities, strengthen local economies and networks. Global systems will likely falter, but resilient local ones can endure. And for nations, policymakers must start planning beyond the next election cycle. That means confronting unsustainable debt, reforming entitlement systems, regulating new technologies, and rebuilding international cooperation before it's too late. Because if we wait until 2030, the damage will already be done. The 2030 depression may not come with tanks in the streets, but it will shake the world just as violently. The signs are here. The quake is building. The question is, will we prepare, or will we repeat history? This has been The World in Context with Ellis. Stay aware, stay prepared. Quick question. Do you think leaders will act before 2030, or are we heading into another preventable disaster? Please leave a like. If you're interested in geopolitical issues, subscribe. We are breaking it down all the way to 2030 and beyond.